What is happening, everybody? Happy Monday to you all, and welcome to the Extras. Coming to you live from a withering houseplant. Got a bunch of people in the chat already. I appreciate you. Nance in there first. Big surprise. He says, tasty blue wires, computer chips and salsa. Meech says, is it possible that I can't get noties when I'm streaming other videos and audio? Because I didn't get a noti again. And I know how to set them. I'm not a moron. Oh, we know. We know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the explanation there. I do think, though, that the way Nance is getting it is just by, like, being on the page when I post the stream, is what I'm guessing. But he might have some sort of secret in the wires type thing he could share with you. But I just missed a call from our friend Triss, whose cow is having its first calf right now. So I haven't heard back, so I'm assuming things are good now. But we may have to go live to Texas for the calf birth. So stay tuned on that one. Nance says, sorry, Meech, the notification doesn't usually send out till it's actually live. Yes, that's true. And then also, when I post the stream, and you find it, you can click on a button that says notify me, and it will tell you when I go live, when I actually hit the button. Nance says, I don't get one till the show starts, but you beat Becky, so you get a silver star. Just got a 30-minute warning for the show to start. Okay, all right, so that part is working. Becky in there. Damn, I'm not first. Hello, Nance and Meech. Hello, Becky. Thank you for being here. Hope you had a great weekend. Nance says you're 15 minutes late. Sorry, I'm 15 minutes late too. That's okay. We're all doing it. We're all a little bit behind today. Crooked Orchids in the chat says hello. Chips and salsa. Nancy Pants is fast. So fast. Nance says Jimmy John's freaky fast. That is not an ad. KO says hello, Michi. We will never win. Hey, it's a toss-up, you know? We never know. We never know who will be first. Oh boy. Oh, Becky. Keeping things interesting. We appreciate you. Black Magic in there. Bad Will. What's going on, guys? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for being here. Will says it's getting hot here, too. Oh, wait. I missed a couple. Black Magic says, yo, happy Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. It's getting hot here in Arizona. I bet it is. It's starting to warm up in Ohio, and I am feeling it. But I like it because we've been waiting so long for this. I don't know what it was. This spring just took forever to warm up, at least where I'm at. Or at least to the degree of warmth that I'm satisfied with. Because some people in Ohio will tell you, if it's 50 degrees, we're good. But I'm not in that camp anymore. Will says, getting hot here too, but it keeps raining, so it's really muggy too. Yeah, yep, just had that myself. It just like poured rain, and now it's sunny again. You can see the light on my face is not artificial today. And yeah, it just poured down rain, and now it's sunny, so it's super humid out. Everything is wet and sticky. It's a beautiful thing. Black Magic says, I hate the humidity. Our monsoon season in July, August is like that. 115 with 80 to 90% humidity. Thankfully, it's only a couple months like that. That is the season that I visited Scottsdale, and I can vouch it is like an oven. We were by the pool, and that was the only way to exist down there. At least for me. I'm not accustomed to that type of heat. Meech says, KO, we just have to settle for beauty, not punctuality. Aw. Absolutely. Bad Will says, no thank you, that's too hot. Too hot. Nance says, Meech was late to her own birthday. Black Magic says, as I get older, it seems like it hits different and it's harder to tolerate. It's beautiful here, though. 8 to 9 months of the year, so it's mostly worth it. You know, I was starting to feel the same about the cold where I'm at. Like, as I get older, my tolerance for it is less and less. And it's not that I'm like, I work outside a lot. I don't know. I hate it more. I don't know how else to explain it. It just, I don't know. I'm just getting older and I'm cold, you know? I'm ready for heat. I'm ready to sit by the water and have the water not be frozen. Meech says fashionably late. That's right. Black Magic says, you in Ohio, Will? I've never been to Ohio, but I'd love to make it out there someday. I was going to come out for the next Rovers Fest, but I don't know that he'll ever do another one now. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a Rover Fest, which is a shame. Because I only went to one. I went to that Rover Fest X and never went to any of the other ones. It's such a shame. I wish I would have, because I had such a great time. But I believe Will is in Kentucky. Yes, Southern Kentucky. Yes, right where all the tornadoes hit a couple weeks ago. Yes, Black Magic, Kentucky and Tennessee are beautiful places to visit as well if you come out this way for some more temperate weather. Yes, right. Will says right in the new tornado alley. Yeah, I know. It is terrifying. Terrifying stuff. Tornadoes are no joke. I saw some wild videos from down there in Kentucky of the damage, and some people had videos of the actual tornadoes. Just crazy how long it stayed on the ground. Meech says, yeah, you guys had really bad luck weather-wise. Absolutely. It's crazy. Last year we had a mini tornado come through our neighborhood. Didn't really do much damage, but it uprooted several trees. See, even that is tough. And it's tough to lose a mature tree in your yard, especially if you don't have a lot. Nance says, I'll take 5 feet of snow in 24 hours. Oh, as opposed to the tornadoes? Yeah. I guess everybody has their thing. Every place has its weather drawbacks. Meech says, can't complain about the weather here. It's been beautiful and trying to enjoy every second of it before it gets to be in the 90s and 100s. Yeah, me too. It's high 60s, low 70s. That's a great spring temperature. It's been awesome. Black Magic says, I'm glad you're all right. Hopefully you didn't have too many friends or family affected by it. Yeah, just so much devastation down there. It's crazy. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get caught up on the chat here. Yes. And yeah, Nance, you guys have the endless winter up there. I would not want that at all. If I ever move, it's going to be south, not north. Alexander Drought in the chat says Mondays are not happy, but cheers all. Hey, well, we try to bring a little smile to your Monday. Becky says, I went to all the ones in Lorraine. That is my backyard. Okay. That's the one. I think that's the one I went to. The site I went to as well is over there by the river. Meech says, full house tonight. Yes, I appreciate you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Yeah, lots of new peoples. So thank you. And thank you to our 24 new subscribers. Thanks for being here. I do this for my friends, so you are welcome to join, jump in the chat, introduce yourself, and become one. So today, I have some new stuff we can yell about. But we had our first copyright claim on Friday's stream where we talked about the DoorDash crash outs, and that last video we watched on the Daily Mail, they claimed it. I was like, what? Like, what do you even... Why are you claiming this? My channel's not even monetized. What are we talking about? It's insane. And I didn't even play the whole video. I played maybe 20 seconds of it, and I paused it several times and skipped around, but they still claimed it, so I don't... Whatever. No more Daily Mail. We'll keep it to the chill, peoples. Nance says, I didn't learn about RMG until 2020, long after Roverfest. Yeah, that's a shame. I started listening in 2008, and those days were so good. Man, so good. Black Magic says, wow, we're growing. Yes, we are. It is pretty wild. We actually had, on Friday's stream, 100 people stopped by live, which is the first time that's ever happened. So, hey, appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here. Nance says 70 downloads yet? No, the elusive 70 downloads has not been reached. Becky says, yes, Roverfest X was in Lorraine. Yes, okay. Yeah, I was confused because there's so many... If you're not familiar with Cleveland, Ohio, the Cleveland metro area, every, 5 minutes as you're driving down the street, you're in a different city. It's insane. There's 500 cities around the city of Cleveland. So if you're not from the area, it can get very confusing as to what city you're in, because it's at least for me, that was a confusing part about visiting out there. Meech says 100 downloads. Yeah, that's right. We're on the way. We are on the way. Actually, we are getting a lot of watch time, which is crazy. Like, people watch the whole stream, which is nuts. Thank you guys so much. Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah, once we hit 500, I think we actually would be monetized at that point. So, Black Magic says, I started listening to RMG in 2009. Randomly found the show on iHeart when I hit my first iPhone. I've been a fan since. That's actually how I found the show too. I found it on my BlackBerry in the iHeart app in January of 2008. It's insane. Meech says, I graduated from here. I wish I had some of those sound buttons. You think Rover would sue me if we had I graduated from here and a couple of the Jeffrey ones? I don't know. Maybe we could call Jeffrey. We could probably get we could get the license on that. We'll record our own sound effect over the phone. Meech says 2008 high school graduation. Let's not age the old folks in here. 2008 high school graduation. Oh, Nance graduated in 2008. Oh, okay. I got you. All right. I like this new music. I have a second playlist too, but I haven't even used it yet because I like this one. KO says, no one I knew was responsible enough to go to Lorraine. I don't know what that means. Meech says they watched the whole stream because you're captivating. Oh, thank you. No, I think that it's about half and half of the random people following me. Like, there's half of the people are like, ew, this guy's super annoying. Click off immediately. Hit the dislike button. Leave a comment saying some mean thing. Appreciate those, by the way. The Eric Freeze in the chat. Eric Freeze says, I only go to Cleveland to use the airport. It's crazy how much construction there is there, and the roads are even worse. I'm with you, dude. And trying to navigate Cleveland because they have 5 million highways, and whenever you're trying to go somewhere, you have to take 18 different roads, or I don't know, man. I can't figure it out. Angelina in the chat too. What's going on, Angelina? Eric Freeze, I hope you were able to see the DoorDash stream. I know you were asking about the DoorDash topic. We did DoorDash on Friday, but someone claimed one of the videos. So I'm gonna have to probably edit that section out, which is unfortunate because then we lose the live chat. So I don't know. I might dispute it. I don't actually know what we're supposed to do with a copyright claim because I've never had one. So I had to unlist that stream. But if you didn't get to see it, I will repost it eventually once I get the pertinent section removed from the video. Crooked Orchid says, Pothole City, Eric. Yes, it absolutely is Pothole City. Yeah, Angelina, good to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Hope the babies are doing well. Well, just one right now, right? We're still waiting on the other one. When are we expecting the second little one, if you don't mind me asking? You don't have to share that if you don't want to. I'm just curious. Nance says, y'all think Ohio roads are bad? Visit New York State. No, thank you, actually. I've been there many times. I used to vacation, in Long Island, in college, and driving through the city every time was the absolute worst part of the trip. You gotta drive 5 hours through just the most boring roads of Pennsylvania where all you can see is trees on both sides of the highway for 5-6 straight hours. It's just a mind-numbing drive out to New York. But you're up north though, so maybe it's a little bit nicer going that way. Crooked Orchid says, "Oh, I was wondering. I thought I missed two." Oh, the other stream. Yeah. No, I will have that posted here soon. October 16th. Okay. All right. Good to know. Well, good luck, and I hope everything is going well with that. You know, now you have the experience, so you're an expert. Now it'll be easy, right? Meech says, congrats. Absolutely. 2 is much more fun, she says. KO says, yuck. The Eric Freeze says, I love those roads in southern PA. KO says, who would want to see trees? I love seeing trees. My issue is when you get to the top of these big hills, you can't see anything. You can't see like a nice view or anything like that. It's just the tall trees right next to the road on both sides. So it's kind of a mind-numbing driving experience. I believe it's I-80 is the road I'm referring to. Correct me if I'm wrong, GeoGuessers. Nance says, I'm far from NYC. I'm near Niagara Falls. Okay. Black Magic says, congrats, Angelina. Babies are wonderful. Enjoy them. I miss the days when my kiddos were that young. My youngest just turned 19. Wow. Okay. Well, hey. That's a good time, too, because they're all out of the house. So that's, I'm sure, equally a good and bad thing, right? Becky says, damn, that was a fast year. Yeah. Angelina says it definitely flew by. Yeah, it is wild how I every time I see my nieces and nephews, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Again, it just it catches you off guard how fast they grow up. KO says 80 all the way. I love it. Nothing but trees. Eric Freeze says, I take 80 to visit my friend. Okay, I got you. I cannot wait for my kids to be 19, Meech says. They're fun at all ages. Yeah, I'm sure they are fun at all ages, but also it's fun when they have some autonomy and can kind of do their own thing as well. I imagine that's, those are both probably good experiences. I'm not sure. I don't have any kids. I can only pontificate. So, oh, look at that. It just worked. Amazing. Love that. Love that when things work. So today we are going to talk about depreciation of cars. And we did a stream a few months ago about insane high car payments and how expensive vehicles are these days and how ridiculous it is and blah, blah, blah. So we did a lot of that. Well, today we're going to talk depreciation. And that is when your vehicle loses value each year. That's the number that they track it by. It's the depreciation. So we're going to look at the most depreciating cars, the least depreciating cars, some people who got into some horrible situations, who's blaming who, whose fault is this. I'm still on the fence, but, I have opinions, and I'll give them to you. Nance says, that'll make you like 73, Meech. Meech says, I'll be in my 60s when my youngest graduates high school. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Black Magic says, they're fun as adults, too. The relationship just changes, but I love it. They're real people now. Yeah. Well, and that autonomy is probably good for both. Good for them and good for you. So, something to be proud of, for certain. Nance says, so I wasn't off much. Becky says, minus 25. Yeah, it is wild. Wild how quick they grow up. What happens when your bestie becomes a grandma? Yeah, Meech, exactly. What are we gonna do then? You're just gonna be the grandma who knows how to use Discord. KO says, OMG, if I were a car. What? Yeah. Hey, no. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. About the depreciation. No talk like that. But so I have, Meech says, I love this topic, Drew. I'm going to get dragged kicking and screaming to pick out a new car, and I'm just not feeling it. I need to know what car won't tank 30 seconds off the lot. You know what, Meech? I thought of you when I was doing the research for this, and I actually have a couple clips I pulled just for you, because not long ago you were talking about maybe I should get the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, and I will show you a couple people who did that. Nance says, Meech will be like Doogie then. No way. No, not even. No way. Meech says, you shut your stupid mouth. Now you're just being mean. Yeah, no. You don't need to be. No. Come on now. We know this is not the case. Hey, by the way, we're doing the Blackberry Bell V again, if y'all wanted to know. So, trying to be good about the Red Bull. Hope y'all are sipping on something good. Alexander Drought, what are you sipping on right now? I know you always got something fancy. You got something I don't have, probably. Eric Free says, in 2021... my dad's car was ruined when he hit a raccoon going 70 miles per hour in the interstate, and it was totaled. The only car he could afford was was an S-Box with a transmission whine and 34% rust. Hey, I've had some of those cars. And you know what? Speaking of raccoon, we need to check in with Chewy the raccoon. We remember Chewy the raccoon from the body cam stream. He had the meth pipe, and then the cop was laughing at him, and he goes, you can't have a meth pipe, and he takes it away from the raccoon, and the raccoon turns around, pulls out another one, and just... that was such a good video. I love that so much. If you missed that, feel free to go back and check that out. but there's been a couple updates on Chewy the Raccoon, okay? Now, one is from May, and police contacted this is according to the Port Clinton News Herald. If you remember from the video, the father of the suspect transported the raccoon from the scene in that cat carrier that the comically small cat carrier that it barely fit inside. So, after that happened, police alerted ODNR, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, and they checked to make sure that the owners had proper licenses to own a raccoon, because in Ohio, you are not supposed to possess a raccoon. So the only way that people get these licenses is by rescuing pets in this situation. So it is possible that Chewy's mom can get the paperwork and the license that's necessary in order to keep Chewy the raccoon. And they are, there's some people in the community that are trying to help make sure that she has the financial resources to obtain the, what's it called? Prorogating license? Prorogating? I don't know how to say that word. I've never... Someone tell me how stupid I am. What is prorogating? So if you get the prorogating license, you can have a raccoon, I guess. You can prorogate. Crooked Orchid says... oh wait, sorry, I missed... Becky says, I posted an update in the Discord. Yes, I saw your article. I have that one next. The Eric Freeze... Okay, he's just laughing at Chewy the raccoon. Chewy is living in my chimney, says Crooked Orchids. Oh, Donald Sutcliffe. Welcome to the chat, Donald. Appreciate you joining us. Donald says, yes, I'm a victim. I bought 2 vehicles last year. Now I'm regretting. I overpaid. And do I sell them or keep them and let them get repossessed? You know what? I encourage you to hang out with us, because we're going to look at people who are in that exact situation, and then we're going to hear from some car dealers who will tell you how to get out of a situation like that, where you're what's called underwater or in a negative equity situation, is this new word that car dealers like to have for it, because it dresses up the situation a little bit. Misha's Rebecca got the update. So, the other update that Rebecca got us is, according to Fox 8 Cleveland, owner of raccoon found with meth pipes vows she won't surrender him. So, this is just a follow-up. ODNR is still working with the owner, who unfortunately she says, is between living in her car and living in her residence, which is a sad situation in itself. So I hope that she can get into... I know she did provide an address to them, so I believe she does have a place she's going to move, and she's going to try and get that set up. Because she was living in her car at the time of the arrest. And if you remember, there was a lot of stuff in that car. But yeah, so I just thought we'd check up on Chewy real quick before we got started. Anyways, okay, so, Donald, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of car did you get that you are, currently regretting owning? Because my perception of the situation... Well, hold on. Let me catch up on the chat here real quick. Yeah, Meech says, that sucks, Donald. What models? Yes, I'm curious as well. Meech says, that sounds hazardous. Hold on.
We're considered a hazardous building.
Any dealership is definitely a hazardous building. Alexander Drought says, I used to have negative equity when I was bouncing between newer cars. I'm proud that my latest and current car I paid off in 2 to 3 years, and I don't have a car payment now. That is where you want to be, my man. That's exactly where you want to be. That's beautiful. Crooked Orchid says $450. Even that's a lot for a car payment. Alexander Drought says the bad thing is I'm getting that new car itch now that mine is 11 years old. And that's a problem too, you know? That's the issue, is that once you have a new car, you want to continue having a new car, and new cars don't stay new forever. So it's a tough conundrum. Meech says, we have 1 lease and 2 paid off cars. Problem is, my kids are getting bigger, so I'm sadly going to need a bigger car soon. Nat says, has to be a Stellantis product for one, and I'm guessing a Nissan for the other. Oh, based on the depreciation. No, you know what? You're going to be surprised at some of these cars that have such high depreciation. And I think you'll be surprised at some of the cars that have the lowest depreciation as well. Or 6.2 Silverado. Yeah, could be. Becky says, get the soccer mom van, Meech. Or buy an old short school bus. Oh, Meech, or KO says that $450 is to see who's in my chimney. Oh, that's how much they wanted to clean the chimney out, huh? Okay. Well, that seems a little steep, but you know, if they're gonna have to get the raccoon out of there, who can blame them? Where I'm at, trappers charge $100 per raccoon that they catch. So if they don't catch it, you don't pay anything. Alexander says, yeah, when I say I'd look at a new car, I mean a slightly used one. Find a 1 to 2 year old car, slap on a certified warranty, and you're good to go. That is one route a lot of people do. But the problem there is that you're assuming that the vehicle has already weathered the worst of the depreciation that it's going to have, and sometimes that's not the case. It is true that the first couple of years you do lose a lot, but some cars continue to lose at that same rate, which is nuts. Even really nice, fancy cars, too. I have some of those examples. Meech says, Becky, you know better than me. I'm not getting a van. Yeah, she's got the cool mom SUV, and now she has 3 kids, so I'm guessing that she's going to end up with the Silverado, Expedition, Tahoe, Denali, Super that every mom has to have. I can't tell you how many videos I watched today where a girl is like, well, you know, I had my Nissan Rogue SUV and we had 1 baby, and then we found out we were going to have another baby, so I had to upgrade. So then she gets a 9-passenger behemoth like this. There's no reason to haul 2 children around. You do not need a 9-passenger vehicle, I assure you. 5 adults can fit in a Nissan Rogue. Becky says, Meech, I don't blame you. Soccer van just says you have too many kids. No, too many kids is the 15-passenger van. That's when you have a lot of kids. Nance says, sad part, the used prices are close to the new, so you're taking a bigger loss at the end. Yeah. Oh, we got a couple of those too, where it's actually makes more sense to buy the new one versus the used one because the prices are so close. Meech says 4 kids. Oh, 4 kids. I apologize. You're at 4. So, if you have 4 kids, so 2 kids, you need a 9-passenger. So if you have 4 kids, you need an 18-passenger SUV, you're saying? I mean, we need like the Explorado High Country Edition I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. How do you get 4 kids into a vehicle? Maybe they each need their own bench. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I've had the same car since 1 kid. Okay, see? Look, you persevered. You went from 1 kid to 4 kids and somehow were able to avoid buying a shuttle bus. You've had more restraint than most of these people I'm about to show you. The Eric Free says, my 1995 Ford Ranger died and I couldn't afford a truck in new condition for under $10,000. I'm stuck with a Toyota Corolla, and it's fun driving on the interstate with lawn equipment sticking out the back. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about the 1995 Ford Ranger. There is no way. I mean, it must have had like 7 million miles on it at that point, because we had a 95 Ranger and we took that thing to like 380,000 miles, and then when we sold it, it wasn't even. I think it still ran. These things are insane. KO says, or everyone gets a bike and no leaving until you can bike there. Yep, exactly. Corollas for life, Nance says, my 2011 Corolla keeps trucking along at 215K. I'm with you there. Corolla's a great vehicle. Alexander says, having another kid definitely makes sense to upgrade from a Rogue to an Infiniti Q80. Becky says, no, KO. They have an electric Mustang EV that doesn't look like a normal Mustang. And that's that. We're going to see that car too. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get this intro set up here. So this is CNBC, and they're gonna explain why cars lose their
value. A car starts losing value
so
right away. Literally, as you drive it off the lot. You could keep it spotless inside and out, give it regular maintenance, and protect it against every ding, dent, and scratch. And it'll still lose value. Depreciation, the rate at which that happens, is one of those numbers everyone in the automotive world thinks about. Consumers, automakers, and the massive used car market, which makes up somewhere
Meech
around
says I need a
40 million
7-passenger
each year.
preferably
More than
captain
double
chairs for the second
sales
row.
of new
Okay,
cars.
gotcha.
But in 2020, something strange started happening.
Eric says the moms are going to need a
upside
Ford
down.
Transit.
Used vehicles were actually increasing for about 2 years, which we've never seen anything like that for the market.
A lot of those trends have abated since,
Sorry, my music
but
is
those
like
odd
clashing with
times
theirs really
led
bad.
to lasting changes. In the post-pandemic world, there are fewer cars to go around.
See, but I think this is a tired argument. Now, this is a year ago, and during the mask times, you know, there was a lot of panic in the car business because everyone thought, oh my God, there's never going to be any more cars. We're going to be out of cars. I won't have a car. I don't have a car now. So everyone went out and they had to buy a car right then. And also, the dealerships started taking advantage of this. And they were like, you know what? If you want to buy that car, it's actually going to be $20,000 over the MSRP as a market adjustment because so many people want this car. And I think they do talk about that a little bit in this video, but that is the main driver for these problems. This is if the resale value of a car dips too low, a buyer could end up paying more for the car than it's worth. I would argue that nearly every buyer is paying more than every car is worth in almost every situation, unless you're putting an insane amount of money down. And even when you do that, you're not really winning because you're just losing that money in cash up front instead of losing it slowly through depreciation. So which way do you want to get washed on 50 grand in your first year of ownership, for example, if you own a Maserati Quattroporte So that, by the way, that's why cars lose their value so fast. If you want to check that out on CNBC, feel free to do that. I will put it in the description for you, bacon strips. For new people, Bacon Strips is a guy who gave me some pro tips in another stream. So, Bad Will says, we're looking at the Grand Highlander. Those are nice and have captain's chairs. I agree. I love the Grand Highlander. They are very nice. And a Toyota, I would feel less worried about spending money on a new Toyota. Becky says, Mustangs are not soccer mom cars. That's what I see the Mustang EV as. You know, and that isn't a bad choice either, but not with 4 kids. I can't see having 4 kids in the Mustang EV. Alexander says car manufacturing has caught up. I've even started getting deals and offers on new cars when that was unheard of during that. Yeah, absolutely. It's still not a great time to buy a car, but it's getting better. It's not a great time to buy if you're financing, you know? But it is a great time to buy if you have cash, because a lot of these dealerships are in trouble. And instead of, watching someone else explain it, I'll just explain it real quick. So in 2020, they had all these market adjustments. So everybody's paying 20 grand over. Okay. So even if you come in on your incredibly overpriced $80,000 vehicle, they add the $20,000 market adjustment. So now it's $100K. Let's say you were really responsible with your saving and you put $25,000 down. You want to pay 25% of it up front, right? Well, you finance $75,000. Well, next year that car's going to be worth $50,000. So even though you were responsible and you paid 25% of the loan up front, it doesn't matter. You're still over 20 grand underwater after 1 to 2 years of ownership on some of these vehicles. And so a lot of people are in this situation, being underwater, and dealers are now calling this negative equity, which I think is just the dumbest name for this, because it's not negative equity. It's the fact that they sold you an overpriced vehicle, way overpriced, and added another market adjustment on top of that and made you finance all of that amount of money. Then on the other side, the manufacturer doesn't put the same level of quality into these cars as they used to, and the value of this vehicle plummets so quickly that even the most responsible buyers are now in the worst situations financially, and trying to get a new car is next to impossible. Because in that hypothetical, if you wanted to trade that car in, the dealer is going to want you to pay the negative equity you owe, which was whatever, I forgot what numbers we were even talking, $23,000 or something. So you'd have to take another $25,000 loss. In 2 years, you lost 50 grand on a car just to break even at the end and get rid of it. It's insane. And the dealerships are out here blaming consumers for paying too much. They're blaming consumers for, you should have known what you were signing. They're blaming banks even. They're saying, man, these banks should have never made these loans to these people. Like, what are you talking about? You were the one who called the bank and told them they should make the loan to the people. And now you're looking back and being like, man, these banks are out of control, They would let anybody get any kind of money. Like, dude, you know who submitted the application, though? You, the car dealer. It's absolutely nuts. Everyone's pointing fingers, so we're going to try and sort this out and figure out whose fault it really is. I think it's pretty obvious what my opinion is. Nance says certain cars are readily available here, besides HD trucks and like 2500 and 3500, and Toyotas are hard to find here unless you want the blowing up Tundras with the junk V6. Yeah, no, everyone knows not to buy those. KO says cars are such a ripoff. Absolutely. Absolutely they are. 100% right. And KO, you're by riding a bike, not only are you saving on the car payment and the insurance, but the depreciation, the every year losing money on these things. So let's check up. If you bought a new car in 2022, what would it be worth now? So in 2022, if you bought the Tesla Model 3, this is U.S. News. U.S. News and World Report, the car news section. And this is the cars with the fastest depreciation in 2025. So if you bought these vehicles in 2022, this is what it's worth now in 2025, 3 years later, okay? So here's a Tesla Model 3. Average price new was $54,990. Average price used, $25,000. So you lost an average of $29,000 or 53% of the value in 3 years on a brand new vehicle. And that's just the beginning of the list. Hold on, let me catch up with chat real quick. Sorry, bacon strips. Nance says, cars are required to live anywhere outside of the city, though. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And not every city is even walkable or has good public transit either. That's a good point. KO, have you ever thought about getting an e-bike? Becky says, yeah, that's a good idea. KO says, no, I love pedal bikes. All right. Well, hey, you get that exercise in. That's how you keep in shape, you know? With these used truck prices, it probably makes more sense if I buy a 1998 Bluebird TC for $2,000. I would say, yes, you're correct. A Bluebird TC is a school bus, if you aren't familiar with that. But yes, you could get those for $2,000, and they have industrial diesel engines in them that last forever. And it's not even one that's a 1998. It's not going to have a lot of miles on it, and you can really get a lot of life out of those. It's crazy. KO says, I need a new bike. See, that's the thing, is the bike at least will hold its value. I bought a brand new bike in like 2006, and I bet I could sell it for almost what I bought it for right now. KO says, they moved like 20 Cybertrucks over by me. Ooh, I got some Cybertruck news coming too. I drive by the Tesla dealership here, and it's vital to gag. Okay. Jack says, ban EVs, reverse the bans on oil and natural gas powered vehicles. I think the market agrees with you, honestly, because even though you have a troll name, even the current buyers are saying the same thing. Nobody wants to buy these EVs, and the values are plummeting on these things. Like, the Tesla's just one. Let's go through it. So here's the 2022 Lucid Air, another, stylish looking, I guess, electric vehicle if you like those. It's sharp looking. It's pretty cool. Average price new in 2022 was $128K. And the average price used is $58K, y'all. A 54% depreciation, which is slightly less than the Tesla, but still a loss of $70,000 over 3 years. And that doesn't include the maintenance that they had to pay for that wouldn't have been covered by the warranty. Crooked Orchid says, Triss just pulled the cow baby. That's great. I gave her instructions. I sent, because I missed her call, so I sent her instructions on what to do. So that's great. Great to hear. Congratulations. Great job, Triss. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yo.
Hey, there we go.
Yo.
Yay. I have some new calves on my farm too. I'll show you some pictures on Friday. Nan says, tell that to Kathy Hochul here. She's Mrs. Virtual Signal. Hey, we don't do politics on this channel. Jack says, and bring back manual transmission. We hate automatic transmission. New transmission suck. We need the good old tranny from the good old days. You are right about that, man. I really miss when you could get a manual transmission. Now they charge you extra for it because they want to give you the automatic transmission that's going to break. And you know what? I'll tell you, someone in my family bought a brand new Jeep SUV, the what's it called? Latitude. Okay? 300 miles this car had. At 300 miles, a brand new car, transmission went out. Had to get a full replacement. 10-speed transmission, full of computers, all this stupid stuff. 300 miles. Like, how? Oh, man. It's so depressing. I am with you. I like the 90s and early 2000s vehicles, and that's kind of what I try and stick with, because I'd rather just fix something old, you know what I'm saying? Mead says, Jack, I love your work. Oh man, that is a very punny chat name you have there, Jack. I like it. I can't read it, unfortunately, because YouTube is, yeah. KO says, she is a cow mommy. Woo! Yes, that's right. I'm happy too. Let's see. Eric Free says, I wouldn't ban EVs, but they won't work everywhere in our country. Yeah, I think some people could get use out of them. That if you only drive a couple miles a day, you know, maybe that'd be great for you. But really, our infrastructure cannot support having a bunch of EVs on the road. If everyone had an EV, we would not have enough electricity to charge them all. Jack says, thank you, Meech. It's a great feeling to be recognized for my excellent and selfless contributions to humanity. Well, hey, Jack, feel free to visit anytime you want, because I will always read your chats within reason, as long as they're not cursing. Because that is what the show's about. The chat, bacon strips, okay? I'm going to read the chats. I'm going to talk, because that's what we do. Jack says, I love your work also. Becky says, yes, gotta love driving a stick shift. Yeah, 100%. Meech says, I'll take manual from a tranny. Oh, nice. Nance says, Latitude is a trim, not a model. Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it was called. It's one of their small SUVs, not the Compass or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know my Chrysler products well enough anymore, apparently. Jack says, I've seen companies making manual swaps for cars that don't have them. Over $15,000 just for a custom manual swap on an overpriced above MSRP car. Exactly, and it's made of plastic too. Like, it's all garbage, just garbage car, and you're gonna put a $15,000 transmission into it. And I agree. That is crazy work. Will says, I love my 2005 Ram 3500 with the 6-speed manual. I'm going to keep rebuilding it till I can't no more. I'm with you. That is a great vehicle. That is a great vehicle. Love those old Dodges. The newer ones, the transmissions, not so great. Nance says, over here, they're bulldozing woods and farm fields to put up huge solar arrays. I mean, it's clean energy. Yeah, right? Yeah, it makes sense. Eric Free says the 8-speed electronic transmission in the 2017 Chevy Silverado is garbage. What was wrong with the 6-speed hydrostatic transmission? Or even better, have a manual transmission option. Dude, I'm with you. Give us back our manual transmissions. Craziness. We got an old truck with the big, the old Ford truck with the big long stick shift, and man, I love driving that. just, they're great. Absolutely great. KO says, that's right, bacon strip. Nan says, the 6L80E in the half-ton Chevys is straight up trash now. They're lucky to get 50 to 60,000 out of most. You know what? I bet you 50,000 is probably the warranty. It's probably lower than that, actually. As long as it lasts, as long as the warranty, who cares? Why does it even have to be repairable? Make it a sealed unit. Make them buy a whole new transmission. That's not even a joke. Some manufacturers do that. You can't even repair the transmissions now. You have to do a full swap or nothing. It is absolute robbery what's happening at these car dealerships now. I haven't even gotten to the stuff that's making me so mad. Let's get into it. Okay. So, sorry, I'm missing chats here. Jack says, I own a 96 Evo 4 and it's my baby. Oh man, the Evo 4s are sick. That's awesome. Did you do anything to it? It's my baby, but she's very rusty underneath. Hey, well, you know, that's okay. Hey, I live in Ohio, okay? We don't discriminate against rust here. We appreciate our rust. Becky says 3-speed on the tree. I love the 3-speed on the tree on the, like, a 1970 F-150, F-100 would have had 3 on the tree. Love those. You could probably still get those. KO says Drew fires. That's right. We got to keep him ready. Elmo is at the ready. Eric Free says, I miss my Ranger. Dude, and it's hard to find somebody willing to give up their Ford Ranger, you know? It's tough. But, okay, so, sorry, I got distracted again, but, okay, so we lost 70K in 3 years on the Lucid Air, but those are electric vehicles. Jack says, trust the rust. 100%, Jack. Man, I like this guy, actually. You need to, I'm assuming you're a guy, okay? I don't want to misgender you, but, feel free to hang out. Hit that subscribe button. We're here every Monday and Friday, and, we'd love to have people like you who make funny jokes in the chat. So I appreciate you, and thank you for being here. Nance says 5 years, 60,000 miles is the warranty. Okay, and you're right on that. Yes, absolutely. They don't want it to last longer than the... Jesus, here's another electric. 22 Tesla Model X, 55% depreciation with a $71,000 loss. Model Y, 56% depreciation. Man, it is a lot of electric vehicles. You were right, Jack. Jesus, there's the Model S. 61.5% depreciation in 3 years. From a new price average of $120.5 to a average used price of $46,358. $74,000 bath you took for 3 years of owning a Tesla Model S. Lord have mercy. That hurts. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if you bought the thing cash for $121,000 or whatever. That's gotta hurt, dude. Like, I don't care how cheap it is charging your car or whatever. Jeez. That is a brutal, just...
Thanks for the 20 bandos.
You know, like, the dealer is cleaning up on these people. That's just one person, you know? These financiers are... This is what we should do, guys. We got to get into the auto loan business. I'm missing some more chats here. Misha's, be right back. Got to put dinner on table for the mine. Hey, that's okay. We appreciate you. Jack says, just kept up with the maintenance. Put in a Walbro 255 so far. Already had other bolt-ons when I got it so far. Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. Hey, that's all right. Still so fun to drive, man. Those are so fun to drive. Especially the manual. Jack says, Eric, my Ranger tried to kill me last time I took her out. Oh, boy. Blew a brake line. 140 kilometers on the freeway. Thankfully, it's stick shift. Oh, Lord. Yeah, it's definitely... That's a big plus for stick shift. It'll help you slow down. Dan, it's worse than the Tesla stock price crash. Jack says, yeah, exactly. It really is. Buying the car was a worse investment than buying the stock. Because at least the stock has potential to go back up. The car's never going back up. Nance says, who needs brakes? They only slow you down. Keep her pegged in the ketchup. That blue is pretty, I guess, KO says. Is it pretty, KO? You could sell your house and maybe afford one. Like, it's so stupid. Like, $120,000 for a car is dumb. Like, it's just, that's dumb money. I don't care how rich you are. Because you're just throwing it in the trash. Like, are there any gas vehicles on here? Yeah, here they are. So here's the 2022 Mustang Mach-E. Had a 46% depreciation, $24,000 loss. The Jaguar I-Pace, 47%, $33,000 loss in 3 years. It's almost all electrics. Oh, here's the Chevy Trailblazer, 2022 Chevy Trailblazer, 51.99% depreciation, but it's a more affordable vehicle, so they're only losing $12,000. Like, they're ranking it by percentage, which I guess is fair, but the price of the vehicle has a lot to do with it, you know? Like the Lucid, you're at the same depreciation, and losing 70 grand versus 12 is a lot different. KO says, Jack, where are you from? Yes, sounds like Canada. My little Ranger would have got munched up in the mountains. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's kind of a slight vehicle for freeway travel. You're right about that. Okay, you are in Canada. All right, awesome. Jack says, I want to move to Alberta, honestly, after the election. Oh, boy. I'm not versed on Canadian politics enough to know what that refers to, but I will trust you on that, Jack. So, one of the funny things here is all of those Teslas that you saw in that list. If you go to the Cybertruck forums, like the CybertruckOwnersClub.com, they're over there whining about, I had my Cybertruck in for service on 4/9/25. I was previously told by a salesperson in La Jolla that I couldn't trade in my Cybertruck within the first year. Remember, they didn't want people reselling them for exorbitant amounts of money, so you weren't allowed to sell it in the first year. So I'm allowed to sell it third market like Private Party and CarMax, but not through Tesla. I checked with the sales staff and was informed that Tesla will not take Cybertrucks in trade now or in the future. This really tells you what Tesla thinks of the Cybertruck. They don't want them either. And boy, did he rile up some Cybertruck owners, y'all. Are you ready for some cope? Here we go. Take that with a grain of salt. It's coming from sales staff. They're not high enough up to trust on a statement declaring forever or never in the future. Yes, what would sales staff know about selling things? I agree. P-Town. If I had $1 for every time I heard something from sales or service staff that wasn't correct with company policy, I could buy another Cybertruck. Oh, okay. My guess is, it sounds like really clear communication coming from Tesla then. My guess is they don't want the bad press of low trade-in values from Tesla adding fuel to the fire on this Cybertruck value stories. Yeah, because they have like 10,000 of these things sitting around that won't sell, and they won't take the used ones in on trade, so no one wants to buy a new one anymore. KO says, okay, you have some place you're thinking. Yes, I will. Oh, in Alberta. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes. Alexander says, I feel like the list is a little unfair. As EVs plummet with depreciation, it should be split between EVs and ICE cars. I agree. It was kind of unfair, but it is interesting how quickly the EVs plummet in price, and might say something either about their quality as they age, or their durability, or the manufacturer's confidence in those things. Yeah, exactly, KO. I'm not a fan either. But I just thought that was really funny. They dropped the prices for 20,000 by 20,000, so they're not going to buy back a used car for thousands more than they sell them new. A new long range is now half the price of the FS Beast a couple months ago. Oof, man. I mean, I would have never bought one of those, but I feel bad for the people losing money. Like, here's an article from Torque News that says Tesla starts accepting Cybertruck trade-ins. According to Tesla, a Cybertruck loses $35,000 over 6,000 miles. Guys, a Cybertruck owner says Tesla offered him $65,400 for his $100,000 truck with 6,000 miles on it. 6,200 miles. So Tesla is devaluing the car by $5.60 for every mile driven. What, dude? Like, can you imagine spending $100,000 on a truck, first of all, and then to turn around and lose half of it in like a year? Like, what? Oh, God. Oh, I'd be so upset. But it's not just EVs, Alexander. You are right. It is other vehicles too. But they do have the worst ones. Like, here is a this is the Lucid.
So we're probably around 49 for the car.
Now, this is Elaine HM on TikTok, and he says he's going to give $49K to buy this Lucid back from a customer, okay?
All right, if you make it 50, I'll bring the car to you.
They're extremely soft sellers, unfortunately. That's the only reason why we really can't step up on them.
And if I say yes, what, you'll come pick it up?
Yeah, we can come pick it up.
MSRP on this car was $154,000, and now he is hoping to sell it for 50 grand. In 2 years, guys. 2 years. Like, what are we doing here? Like, here's a non-electric. This is our friend Yusuf. We watched Ride with Yusuf on the other stream too. This is his TikTok account. 2024 Infiniti QX80 Sensory 4-wheel drive.
Depreciation on a Range Rover was bad. Take a look at the 2024 Infiniti QX80 Sensory Edition, which is the highest level that Infiniti offers in the QX80. These were about $90,000 to $93,000 MSRP, and right now dealers are selling them between $60,000 and $66,000. We're talking about $20,000 to $30,000 in less than a year in depreciation.
30 grand in a year, dude.
And my Range Rover depreciation video took off, and I had a lot of questions on what luxury SUVs can you buy that won't depreciate so much, or what luxury SUVs you can buy today.
Okay, so Meech, this is the video I was telling you about. This, we're going to figure out what SUVs we can buy that are nice, and we're not going to take a bath on them.
That are a great deal. Let's get into it. A QX80 is an amazing luxury SUV, but they are not selling well. This one had an MSRP of $93,000. Right now, the dealer's selling it at $66,000. One has been sitting for 417 days at the dealership.
So you could probably get them to drop it even more just to move it off the lot.
Infiniti QX80 Sensory
64K. These are super sharp, fully loaded.
But it's at $65,000. Just keep in mind that this MSRP was close to $90,000.
Right.
This is a 2024.
Yeah, you're getting it's a year old and you got a $25,000 discount.
2024 QX80 Sensory Edition, all-wheel drive, MSRP of $92,410.
But
right now.
what I would caution
They have a
you
deal on it.
is that look at a 2023 and see what that's worth. Because what if it loses another 25,000 over the next year? That's possible, and that happens with a lot of these vehicles. Eric Free says it's crazy how bad the Cybertruck is. I think it's crazy that Tesla won't even buy them back. That is pretty telling. Absolutely. KO says there's 20 of them that just popped up. They're just parked. Yeah, I think they're looking for places to store all their extra ones. Jack says, do you guys think delivery drivers will be replaced in the next 5 years with self-driving vans and AI robots? No, I don't. Because I worked in the freight industry for a while, and I can tell you that it would be very difficult to automate. I do feel like over-the-road trucking could be automated, and they're doing like trains now where they'll have one truck with a driver in the front, maybe two drivers, so that they can team drive and keep moving, and the self-driving trucks will follow the lead truck on the road. So I can see where that may work, because you need the driver there to do the safety inspections, deal with issues that AI couldn't deal with. I'm 100% against replacing delivery drivers and truck drivers with AI or self-driving. That's just my opinion. Alexander says, I'm not defending Nissan, but to be fair, all luxury brands plummet with depreciation, not just Infinity. Well, I think what Yusuf is saying is that with this vehicle, it's lost most of its depreciation in the first year, and then they hold pretty well after that. So I guess he's saying if you want one, buy one that's, you know, a year old with 10k miles and save 25% and get basically the same thing. Jack says, my business plan is to become a porch pirate. Leave the packages alone. Steal the delivery robots. Destroy the trackers. Part them out for computer stores. And bring back delivery jobs to humans. I like how you think, Jack. Are you secretly a friend? I'm getting suspicious now. Are you sure you're in Canada? You're not just one of my friends? Okay. Jack says that makes sense, actually. Drew says, oh, I didn't even think of it like that. Yes, absolutely. We gotta be careful out here. Jack says, I hope you're right, or else I will be starting a computer store. Yeah, I don't see them completely replacing trucking, just because I know all of the things. And Bad Will in the chat, he is a trucker as well, and he can tell you, even with humans at the wheel, stuff is going wrong constantly in the supply chain, okay? Because humans are weak links, but also humans are uniquely able to solve problems and remedy situations that a self-driving truck would not be able to do. So I'm going to stand by that. Jack says, no, I'm just a random Canadian. Well, hey, kindred spirits. I appreciate you being here. Crooked Orchid says Jack for president. I agree. Get him down here. We'll make an exception. We need a Canadian president, I think. I think we need a Canadian president. I'm with you. Let's do it. Okay, so here, these are the 5 fastest depreciating vehicles, okay? This is I think over 1 or 2 years. So this is like
here are 5 of them.
This is like immediate depreciation right here, and this is from our man ZackTrahan on TikTok. Beverly with a U is his page name.
Fastest depreciating cars you could possibly buy. If you like gambling and you like to lose 100% of the time, buy one of these. First up, we got this ugly mutt, the Maserati Quattroporte.
Yeah, this is the car I was telling you about before, the Maserati Quattroporte. I believe it's 65% depreciation on this?
This thing comes in at a staggering 64% 5-year depreciation rate.
Okay, so that's 5-year depreciation. Sorry, I was wrong. 64% over 5 years. Lord have mercy. And the people who buy these cars claim to be savvy investors.
That's horrible. That is actually horrible. Every time you start the engine, you're just losing value. Next up, we got the BMW 7 Series, which is sad to say it's not much better than the Maserati.
That is sad because that's a sharp car. I love the 7 Series.
1% depreciation rate over 5 years. Trash. Next up, we got the Infiniti QX80. Not surprised, someone actually made a detailed video the other day of how much theirs depreciated over 4 to 5 years. It's actually sad.
So this is what we were just talking about, right? The Infiniti QX80, 5 years.
This one's at 58% over 5 years.
58%. Now, man, that's a lot. That hurts, you know? And these manufacturers don't even care that they're putting out an absolute garbage product. Jack says, maybe for Prime Minister one day, someone has to reverse the 2035 ban on gas-powered vehicles. Oh, that's coming. Don't worry. Don't worry. There's no way that they'll be able to go all electric anywhere. I think everyone's slowly realizing it, but the market has decided it a long time ago. Nance says Maserati throwaway Dodge parts made into a fancy car. That is correct, actually. Do your research on that. Jack says should be more than 58%. It looks like a Kia Soul. I know. I know. God.
Next up, we get the Audi A7. I'm not surprised at all with this one. You could find an Audi A7 for like stupid cheap with like 50,000 miles.
And yes, but stupid cheap doesn't matter when the maintenance is stupid expensive. Like you can get a Porsche Panamera for really cheap too. You get a used Panamera for like 15 grand, but take it in for service and you're going to pay half of that, you know?
This one is at a staggering 57% over 5 years. And then lastly, we got
Not the
Escalade.
Escalade.
Cadillac Escalade. These depreciate 56% over 5 years. Again.
Eric Free says it really stinks. The QX80 is a great car. I agree. And I think it would be a great car to lease. And that is one of our solutions to getting out of these negative equity situations is having a lease. So we'll talk about that in a second. I think this is the Range Rover video that Yusuf was alluding to in his other one.
The depreciation on Range Rovers have been monumental, especially this last year. Let me tell you why. Here we have a 2019 Range Rover, full size.
Sorry, this one's a quiet one.
Beautiful spec, heads-up display, ambient lighting. These trucks have just dropped in.
I mean, these vehicles are gorgeous, but the quality is absolute crap. Like after 2 years, everything electronic in the car is going to be broken. I like y'all who listen to Rover remember when he had the Range Rover Sport, it was in the shop more than he had it out of the shop during the years that he owned it. Nance says, got to get the Escalade V. That's the special one. I agree. Yeah, you got to. If you get the higher trim models, they do cost a little more, but they tend to hold their value better because they're more desirable. They have more desirable features, and when people are looking at a used luxury vehicle, they want one that is nice. Jack says, meanwhile, my 90s beaters are appreciating. I'm with you there. Jack says, how many vehicles do you own? Several. I don't know if I want to admit. But yes, I have we have several early 2000s era vehicles because that's the era that I prefer. Nance says Range Rover was basically made by Ford, so that's half the problem. Well, and they're just straight up overpriced and bad quality.
Dropped in price so hard.
It's really the electronic stuff that is the worst on the Range Rover.
Just 1 year ago, if the customer came to appraise his car, he would have gotten maybe $10,000 to $15,000 more. So that,
which is insane. $15K. He'd have got $15K more if he brought it in last year. Now, one caveat is that this Range Rover is super high miles for a Range Rover. 148K is a lot.
Range Rover has 148,000 miles, and we appraise it right around $25,000 to $26,000 for trade-in. Had he brought it last
25
year,
grand, guys.
$32,000 to $35,000 trade-in. And let's not disregard that car brand new was probably $135,000 to $145,000 MSRP for $100,000 in depreciation.
$145,000 MSRP, and this man just offered $29K on it. Oh my god, dude!
Thanks for the 20 bandos.
Just cleaned them out.
In this depreciation chart for Range Rovers, the average depreciation year one is about $10,000. The second year is almost $60,000 in depreciation.
Okay, so year one, you're going from $140,000 to $133,000. That's pretty good. Year two, you're dropping to 84 immediately. Like, what is happening? Oh my gosh. Jack says, hell yeah, the answer is always never enough, though. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Eric says, Land Rover is so bad, it's like Maserati and Jaguar. 10,000 can get you a good beater. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Someone would probably sell you a Maserati for 10,000 too, because they don't want to fix it anymore. It's like those old W12 Mercedes. You can get them for nothing. Like here's Yusuf talking a little more about negative equity.
What vehicles have experienced the most amount of negative equity? The Grand Wagoneer. These have depreciated so much.
There you go, Meech.
And like I said, the average negative equity situation is between $30,000 to $50,000.
$30,000 to $50,000. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the MSRP on the Grand Wagoneer is $110,000.
Telluride or the Hyundai Palisade, however you say it, those have experienced about $20,000 to $35,000 of negative equity from the deals that I've seen. Now, some of those deals may have included a trade they rolled in when they bought the car. This is a hefty one. The Hummer EV that want to trade this vehicle in or sell it, on average, they're about $70,000 to $120,000 underneath.
$120,000 underneath. So these people are taking $200,000 car loans on an electric truck? That's just dumb. Like, I don't feel bad for you if you did that. Like, you can afford to, apparently. Jack says, for a Land Rover or any beater, 10K is too much just for a beater. I am with you on that. I like an old Land Rover, man. Those things are cool if you can get a good price on one. I've only paid more than $2,500 once across 12 vehicles, and it was my Evo 4. Wow. Man, I need to come up to Canada and get some cars, dude. Well, but that's Canadian dollars. Okay, so in American, that's like, 50,000 or something, right? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, seriously though, I have an 07 F-150, and it is a Canada vehicle. It came from Canada. It's Canada spec. It has the block heater stock on the gas engine, which most vehicles sold in America don't have unless they're sold up north. So yeah, I definitely am pro Canada vehicle. Maybe that's a good excuse to make a trip up there while the weather is nice. Nance says, pretty sure I said the Jeeps were trash. Here's a guy checking out the Grand Wagoneer, and the dealers are having to mark them down.
Talk about these Grand Wagoneers and why they not selling. Why nobody want to buy a Jeep Grand Wagoneer or hell just a Grand or just a Wagoneer? Don't nobody want to buy these. And I'm about to show you why
they're
nobody wants to buy them.
$110,000.
Let's have a conversation. A Grand Wagoneer. This is Jeep's luxury truck. Jeep wanted to go luxury, and this is what they did. They created a Grand Wagoneer.
Yes.
This is a Grand Wagoneer. Crazy. If you're gonna pay $115,000 for a car, $115,000 for a Jeep.
$115,000. Sorry, I was wrong. It's $115 for these, not $110.
And they say that's a sale. $115,000 is a house. Did you hear me? A house. But yeah, let's look at it right here. They want $115,000 for this one. Let's go to the next one. This one, is this a Grand Wagoneer?
That one there was marked down $5,000 too.
No, this is just a regular Wagoneer right here. A regular Wagoneer. Let's see how much money they want for it, baby. $89,000.
Yep. That's how much they are. It's absolutely insane. That is T Lights World on TikTok. If you want to check out his channel, Car Review Jeep Ram TRX is his byline. So he's got a lot of car content, I guess. Jack says running cars for $400 Canadian. No kidding. That's amazing. What is that really? $292 basically. No kid, 200 for under $300. We can get. Wow. Okay. You sold me. I'm coming up. I'm coming up there to get a couple trucks. I'm going to bring a semi and fill it full of trucks and bring them back here and sell them. Nat says, I've seen dealers getting new Grand Wagoneers and throwing in a free Compass with them to try and sell them. Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, you know what? I did see that too. The free Compass. Yeah, the Compass is basically a throwaway vehicle, so that makes sense. That makes sense. Jack says, our cars used to be 5 times cheaper before the liberal immigration 10 years ago. I gotcha. Yeah, I giving away a free car, buy one, get one free, is such a tell that you're getting absolutely robbed at the dealership. Like, man, that is a rough one right there. But, okay, so, sorry about that. Okay, so let's check out some of the benefits of a lease and how getting a leased vehicle can help you out of a negative equity situation. And here's the smart way to get out. This is RussFlipsWhips, okay? And I kind of disagree with some of the things he says, so I'm going to pick him apart a little bit. But he sells cars too.
Of a car with negative equity. So many people do this so wrong and ends up burning them, and they end up owing so much money on a car. It's just a consistent cycle of rolling negative equity into the car after car after car. So if you have a car...
Okay, so many people do this so wrong. It's just a consistent cycle of rolling negative equity into car after car after car. Sir, who's setting them up with those deals? You're a car salesman. It's not like you guys have zero responsibility in this. You're out here selling a car that you know next year is going to be worth nothing and giving somebody an insane interest rate, giving them almost nothing for their trade-in, and then you say it's their fault for rolling negative equity into vehicle after vehicle after vehicle. Well, what's the solution?
A car with a good bit of negative equity and you want to get out of it, let me show you exactly how to do that. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have a little bit of money down. It never gets done, and a deal never gets approved unless you have a little bit of money down. But
I agree. You definitely want to have a little bit of money down. Jack says an excellent salesman. He is very smooth and slick, isn't he? In his little polo Ralph Lauren button up here. Eric Freeze says, my aunt bought a Grand Cherokee in 2018 to replace her Ford Flex. Surprisingly, it hasn't had any major issues. I like those Grand Cherokees. They're pretty sharp.
brand new vehicle. Specifically, you want to look at like a late model. So we're in the 2024 model year, some even 2025. So if there's any 2023s, they're going to have amazing discounts and a ton of rebates. But here's the secret.
Yes. And if someone, now again, the dealership has a brand new 2023 still sitting around, of course it's going to be highly discounted. It's been sitting in their lot for 2 years. What are we talking? That's not a new vehicle anymore. I hope it's wildly discounted. And then you're going to try and sell it for close to its new price when you know it's just been sitting there rotting? That's dirty, dude. That's dirty. And he's saying, oh, well, you stupid people keep rolling negative equity and rolling negative equity. You should do what I do.
A ton of rebates, but here's the secret. Secret is you want to
roll the negative equity. That's the secret. You don't stop rolling your negative equity, guys. You need to roll your negative equity.
Lease the car, not buy it. And the reason you want to do that is because if you buy the car and you do a 72-month term, 84-month term, you're going to be paying on...
Please don't do an 84-month term, people. Like, if you're buying a car, don't do an 84, 96-month term. Your car's going to be worth 0 at the end. We were just looking at 5-year depreciation. What do you think 7, 8-year depreciation looks like?
On that car forever, and you're going to be buried in your car. But
yeah.
If you lease it, when that lease term ends, you can walk away from it. Like these 23 Nautilus I have right here, all lease extremely well. And
yeah, they all lease extremely well. And he's trying to move them because he's trying to sell you a 2023 vehicle as new.
On some of them, we're able to show 8, 9, 10 grand off. So if you have 10...
We're able to show 10 grand off. Yeah, but next year, what's it worth? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you're doing the lease, but like, man, they're really burying the lead here on these brand new 2023 models because the 2023s start getting delivered in 2022, y'all. So really some of these babies been sitting on that lot for 3 years and they're trying to sell it to us as new. It's insane. Eric says we should just buy in cash. If you can't afford one payment, it gets repoed. That's right. You should buy in cash. We talked a lot about repos in the last stream about car payments, for sure. There's a shortage of repo drivers right now because so many cars are getting repoed. Jack says, my sister paid with trade-in 32,000 Canadian for a 2020 Grand Cherokee with 120 kilometers. It's all right, but overpriced. Yeah, I agree. That's a little high. Nance says he said it was before the 25, so this is an older clip. Oh, this is yeah, you're right. This is from last year. But still, he's saying in May 2024 he can sell you a 2023. Yeah, no kidding, he can. Absolutely. Jack says leases are a scam unless you're rich. GGG says I've been with my CDJR dealer for 6 years now. As okay, and back in mask time, manufacturers price gouging forced us to price gouge clients. We never charge over MSRP except for the premium cars. Well, that is really great of you because, you know, a lot of dealers weren't that way. A lot of people took advantage of the situation and now they're turning around and looking at the people that they stabbed in the back, their loyal customers who they made pay $20,000 over market price, sometimes $50,000 over market price for these desirable vehicles. And now they're turning to those loyal customers who they stabbed in the back so hard. And they're like, you know what? This is your fault. You should have never got that loan. You're stupid. Like, that sucks, man. It's hard to hear from a car dealer who's blaming it on the people who got the car instead of realizing like, hey, maybe we were asking a little bit too much for these vehicles then. Because now you take that same car back and they don't have that same energy anymore. There's no 20,000 over value when they're buying it back. GGG says Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited used to run 35,000 USD out the door. That car now runs 45,000 out the door. Wow. See, and I know that Jeep was having a problem moving the Gladiators, and they had to lower the MSRPs on that. And these dealerships, who, if you guys don't know, the cars that sit on the dealership lot are financed through what's called a floor plan. And so every month that a dealer doesn't sell a car, they have to make a payment toward the finance on that floor plan. And so when a car sits there for a year, they've paid thousands of dollars to their finance company to own that vehicle for that time. So they're really, the dealerships are in a hard situation now, because now the MSRPs are dropping and the cars have been sitting there, so they already lost a bunch of money on it. But also, it's hard to feel bad for them because of what they did only a few short years ago when they were all riding high on our backs during one of the hardest times of our lives. You know, I know not every dealership did that, and the ones who didn't are reaping the reward, because a lot of people are out looking for vehicles now, and they have that bad taste in their mouth from what happened. So definitely an interesting perspective. I appreciate you in the chat. It's nice to hear from a dealer. So here's another dealer. Now this guy, he is a veteran car salesman, and he is explaining to a younger car salesman how to help out a customer who has negative equity. And I thought this was an awesome explainer, and what a great guy and a great salesman this guy is. GGG says CDJR, that's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, y'all, Stellantis, has really messed up their brand. I 100% agree. They forgot who their customer is. At least for Jeep, they forgot who their customers are. My company is not corporate, and we have about 300 cars on the lot, new and used, but we barely have anything on floor plan. Almost everything is paid in cash. That's great. That's smart, and it's probably why you guys were able to sell the vehicles at reasonable prices without the insane markups, because that's what these guys did, and they were getting rich on our backs. But yes, so here's this salesman breaking down how to help someone if you have negative equity in your vehicle, how you can roll that into a lease and get out of that money and still get into a new vehicle.
Yeah, but here's the problem. He has so much negative equity. Look, if you look at these numbers right here, so this car, I pulled the window sticker on this car, it was $33,425 brand new. It's got 4,000 miles, it's a 25. But you got to keep in mind, somebody can buy a brand new one right now for $33,400. That's at MSRP, so
yeah, so they're talking about a Kia.
He gives them a discount. You can probably buy that car for $31,000.
Right. So you can buy a new one for $31,000. So no one's gonna buy a used one for $27,000, $25,000
a month. So on a pre-owned 25 with 4,000 miles, we can't get anywhere near
even
that,
if it's only 4,000 miles. Exactly.
We're going to sell this to a customer who's going to finance it like it's pre-owned. They're not going to buy it for close to what they could buy a brand new one for. Does that make sense?
Yes.
They're just going to go buy a new one.
Because it's only a few thousand more, so that's a negligible difference in payment to have a brand new one versus a used one.
Appraise this thing somewhere around $27,000, $28,000. Price it at $29,900. Maybe we sell a used. If I give him the $30,000 that he wants,
see, that's honest right there. He's saying that all they need to do is make about $2,000 on it.
Or I got to price it at $31,900, $32,900, something like that. The customer would be better off just going to buy a brand new one. His negative equity isn't the worst. It's not the worst we've seen, but it's enough that he's not going to be able to roll it onto like a cheap used car. He should think about
now. And what he's saying there is true. You do not want to roll your negative equity onto a cheap used car, because if you take your used car that is, let's say it's worth $20,000, and your dealer has it priced right at the value. It's 20 grand and you have 10 grand in negative equity you're going to roll into it. Well, now you're getting a $30,000 loan on a vehicle that's worth 20 right now. So the bank's going to hit you with higher interest and your payment's going to be way higher on not that nice of a vehicle. So you might end up having to still do the maintenance on it, which might cause you to fall behind on the payments. And then that's how this cycle has become so bad. Nat says, if you're trading a car within a year, idiot. If you're trading a car within a year, just lease. Absolutely. Nat says, no dealer is only making $2,000 on a used car. Well, he's saying the minimum that they could price it for would be $2,000 over what they paid. Eric Free says, that is a good salesman. Nat says, I made my dumb choices trading in a Tacoma that was only a year old. They didn't make 2K off it. Oh, they made a bunch for it off of it, I'm sure. They gave me 26 and listed it for 32. Yeah, absolutely.
About doing
That's what they do. That's how they make money.
Prologues right now on a lease, where you get the $7,500 credit, and I think that there's a $6,000 rebate, so there's $13,500 in incentives.
So he's talking about the Honda Prologue, so you can get incentives on this, so they can get the person a deal on the brand new car, get him a lease, and then they roll that negative equity into the lease payment.
On a brand new Prologue, he could probably lease that car for $450, $500 a month with nothing out of pocket. In my opinion, you need to take him off of the used car, put him onto a Prologue on
what
a
a
lease,
great
take all
guy.
that money, that $13,500, that'll suck up his negative equity and give him a little positive equity. So we need to put him on a Prologue. Can you explain that to him, or do you want me to come out and explain it?
See,
you got it. You got it.
That's
Keep me posted.
great.
If I need to
That's
come out and talk
great.
to him, I will. Good.
Love that guy. So that is Goat for Real 216. Negative equity tales on TikTok. But yeah, so just in case you don't believe me about dealerships still out here being predatory on the people who have low credit scores, here is another example.
I'm gonna tell you guys right now, banks are lending.
Here's the caption: 520 credit score, 10,000 negative equity, approved at 84 months. Guys, again with the 84 months.
Deeper than they ever.
Sorry, this is Costa Creates Car Deals on TikTok.
Have in 15 years in the car business. People have gone through a rough situation with COVID.
Meech says, back just in time for predatory lending. Meech, we talked about the Grand Wagoneer, and people are trading them in, and they owe $60,000 more than it's worth. It's insane. GGG says, most the used cars we have either break even or lost a couple hundred. We make most of our money on those cars on the back end of the deal, selling warranties. Absolutely. Nance says, Honda Prologue is an EV, and it's a rebadged Chevy Trailblazer EV. Yes, that's why they were able to get the incentives for the guy to be able to kind of make up some of that 13,000 in negative equity that he had, because they had like 7,500 in EV incentives. So in that case, it actually made sense to get the EV, because he doesn't have to worry about the depreciation because it's a lease. So at the end, you're just done. You've paid off the negative equity and you don't owe anything else on the car. So at the end of the lease, you just give the car back. Meech says 84 months is insanity. Has Elmo been out yet? Yeah, absolutely he has. At the end of the day, if you're buying a $35,000 to $60,000 used car with 30,000 plus miles and you're not buying a warranty, you're crazy. I agree, but also I feel like some dealerships will fight you tooth and nail to never honor anything in that warranty. So you have to know your service department well and trust them, I think.
COVID have stacked up on credit card bills. Times have been hard, but as long as you've kept very good auto history, banks are lending as low as 520 credit scores with a...
Guys, I don't want to hurt any feelings here, okay? But if you have a 520 credit score, please don't get a car loan, okay? You can't handle it. You're not ready.
A lot of negative equity you can still trade in.
It's not financial advice, by the way.
Banks realize
Just my
that people
opinion.
overpaid during COVID, that people went through a rough situation, and as long as you kept your...
Yeah, the people went through a rough situation and overpaid. Blaming it on the people again is disgusting. You car dealers, you are the ones who did this. Don't blame it on the customer who just needed a car at the time.
Your auto history good. You could have not paid anybody in the world, but paid your auto history. You will get approved. I had a customer today that was a 520 credit score. Perfect auto history, but co-signed with 2 other people, and they ruined her credit. She was able to roll $10,000 of negative equity into a new vehicle and still get a single-digit interest rate at 84 months and keep a...
84 months, my man. What used vehicle is still going to be worth anything in 84 months, and she's still paying on it 7 years later? God,
payment.
that hurts.
It was insane.
That hurts, man. He is bragging about how bad he ripped off a poor person right now. That's like, this is the kind of thing that's gross, you know? GGG says, really need to just buy from good dealers. We insure all warranties and only sell exclusionary plans. See, and that's great. That is great of you. And I think in America, the perception of car dealer staff is a lot more on the negative side. Like, people just perceive them as taking advantage of people in general. So maybe it helps, you know, in Canada, being in Canada, rather, that doesn't happen as much. I don't know. I just feel like maybe Canadians are more kind and not trying to rip off their customers. Becky says, I think that's just common sense. Meech says, people out here having mortgage payments on a depreciating asset, right? It is. It's a whole mortgage payment. $115,000 truck? For what? Who is that for? Why are you doing this? Why are you living your life like this? You're paying $2,000 a month for your car payment so you can pull up somewhere and look cool? Like, how old are you? Holy Jesus. I can't. It makes zero sense to me. But Yusuf is gonna set us straight here. Now, the lease deal is not free money, okay? If you have a lot of negative equity, that one was a really good example because he had the EV credit, so he's able to soak some of that up. But man, if you don't and you have a bunch of negative equity, you still have to pay that. It's not free money.
Car market situation, there has never been a higher percentage of people that are upside down, and I'm talking about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in negative equity.
Okay, so he says there's never been a situation. Now, we can fact check that. We can pull up the actual facts right here. Now, according to ycharts.com, for Q1 2025, U.S. auto loans delinquent by 90 or more days is up to 4.99%. Up from below 4.5% in just a year. So, yeah, a lovely stat there. And then this is the average amount owed on upside-down car loans, higher than ever. Nearly 25% of trade-ins toward new car purchases have more than $10,000 in negative equity. Almost 25% of new vehicle trade-ins are underwater. 1 in 4 Americans with upside-down car loans owe more than $10,000. Lord have mercy. Guys. Oh, find Yusuf. Let him help you, okay? But here, let's let him explain, finish explaining about the lease deal here. Sorry.
Car market situation, there has never been a higher percentage of people that are upside down, and I'm talking about $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in negative equity. And one of the solutions to getting rid of negative equity is to lease into a vehicle that has a lot of rebates and incentives that may absorb your negative equity. We clear up a big misconception about leasing and rolling over negative equity into incentives and rebates and tax credits. You aren't getting free money. Your negative equity is being rolled into the lease, and you are...
Yeah, you are going to pay every dime of that and more, and they're going to charge you interest on that negative equity. Nance says most mortgage payments are like $2,000 now, though. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of car payments are getting up there. Black Magic says absolutely gross. People have no shame anymore. I agree. Really gross. Jack says, I would hope anyone paying that much is living in the car. You would have to. Oh my lord, you would have to live in the car. Eric Free says, I don't have a credit score. I don't have a credit card, and I pay everything in cash and check. With these car salespeople, it's so hard to find someone who's actually honest and who to trust. I agree. It is. Even when you're paying cash, you still feel like they're working you over. And it's tough to feel comfortable at a car dealership. I definitely agree with that. Jack says, I worked at a used tire shop. All the dealers that sell used vehicles get the cheapest set in the store, and some don't even care about putting matching set of tires on an all-wheel drive. Yeah, that's messed up. And a lot of people don't know to look for that when they're purchasing a vehicle too. So I agree. That's a shady tactic for sure.
Or still technically financing
Yusuf,
that negative.
Again, this is Ride with Yusuf. He is going to break down a specific situation with numbers of a lease,
which will lead you to a much higher payment, especially if you have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in negative equity. Let me show you. Here we have a lease deal structured with a customer that was about $26,000 in negative equity or upside down on their GMC
upside
truck,
down,
Mercedes
bro.
EQB
On a GMC truck, Nance. Oh.
Rebates and incentives, it was absorbing most of it. We can see that.
Okay, so he did a similar trick here where he put them in an electric vehicle lease because the incentives absorb some of the negative equity. But he has $26,000 in negative equity, so that's going to be a lot to absorb here. We're going to need a lot of sponges.
MSRP of the 2023 Mercedes EQB 300 was $68,800. They're discounting the car almost $12,500. There's a lease cash incentive
because no one will buy it because it's electric.
So the adjusted price after incentives, if you didn't roll over any negative equity, $48,880.68.
Okay.
His trade payoff was $65,875. $40,000 for his trade. So he is rolling over almost $26,000 into this lease. And the lease cash and discount absorbed it, so it's actually over MSRP about $10,000. So he would have to stomach about 13.
Right. So that's the other thing, is trying to get financing for over MSRP on something is really difficult, but if you're a dealership and you're financing a lease, it's easier to do.
$1,560 a month if he did the 36-month option.
The 36-month option, y'all. Oh my God. No way.
If he had $5,000 down, he would have to stomach $1,200. If
$1,200 a month down, for a lease.
$1,100.
Where he can drive like 12,000 miles a year. So owning it more than 3 years would just be cost prohibitive. You have to buy another vehicle.
Dollars a month. And that's for
Unless
the 36
you never
months.
drive,
if you wanted to
I guess.
lease this car for 48 months and they're only allowing
48-month lease? Yusuf. I thought you were responsible here. What is this?
15,000 miles down, $1,067 for 5,000 down, and $958 for 10,000. That's another 4 years.
So if he puts 10,000 down, then he's only financing 16,000 in negative equity. So then his payment is a tolerable $955.
Your commitment can stomach high payments and you have a lot of negative equity, then leasing is an option for you. And
Meech says at this point, get a bus pass, move, whatever. This is the dumbest way to spend money. Honestly, if you're in negative equity, this is the easiest way out of it without damaging your credit and still allowing you to have a vehicle, and not just a vehicle, a new vehicle the whole time. Because you're not going to be able to roll that negative equity into a used car. It's just not going to happen. Banks aren't going to finance it. Dealerships don't want to do it. Nobody's going to help you. So this would be the only way to get out of your negative equity situation potentially. At least according to my research. Nance says probably not even, probably a low mileage 10K lease. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I don't think he said how many miles. Missing in the chat. What's going on, Missing? Appreciate you being here. Missing says, hey, Drew, what's up, everyone? We need to make sure people can buy directly from the manufacturer and cut out the dealer fees. It's killing us. I like that. I like that model. I like buying from the dealer directly. But the reason we have dealerships in the United States is to prevent collusion by the car manufacturers. So it's a delicate balance. Nance says they do 72-month leases now. Nance, they do 84 and... Oh, wait. 72-month leases? No. How can you... Wow. A 72-month lease is insane. The whole point of leasing is to have a new vehicle. Don't sign up for a lease for more than 3 years. Meech says no car should be financed over 36 months. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Jack says missing only in our dreams. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. Nance says that would be possible if they didn't rot away in no time in the salt belt and we all earned $300,000 a year. Yeah, exactly. That's all we have to do is get $300K
is your
a year.
creditworthiness. I have literally hundreds of messages of people telling me, hey, Yusuf, I have a 2018, 2019 Tesla, GMC, Honda. I'm up.
This is a 2019 Model 3. She owes $48,000 on a 10% interest loan. Oh!
Upside down about $25,000. I pay about $1,100 a month, $1,200 a month. What can I do to bring my payment down to $500 a month, if possible? Nothing. You have to put down $25,000 to get into a cheaper car. Leasing is not going to just
you have to keep paying it.
Give you agreed to do it. So if you have a 500 credit score and you have about $25,000 in negative equity, you will not be able to roll over into a lease to absorb that negative equity.
So yes, absolutely. So it's not a savior for everyone, okay? Now, Nance says, yep, it's called an auto advantage loan, and most banks do it. Oh, for the 72-month lease. Okay. Jack says, my coworker had a 21 Hyundai Venue she bought new, 5,000 down, 775 Canadian a month. She lost the car after missing 2 payments. Oh, God. So all that money is just gone. All that money's gone. So here's a car dealer. Okay, here's another car dealer. This guy is a creator on YouTube, and he has a channel called Car Questions Answered, which I actually really like this guy's channel a lot. He has a couple of car channels, and he is going to talk about what he thinks the culprit is for all of these loans and all of these repos and negative equities, and he's blaming it on the banks writing the loan.
Who have the negative equity and just give up and stop paying. This is what happens to people who have the negative equity and just give up and stop paying their payments. They could lose about 50% of what they paid on that vehicle.
Yeah, just like you guys were just saying. You lose everything. Nance says, Drew, see the link I put in the Discord. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Let me do this really quick. Oh, okay. This is the Auto Advantage program. No down payment required. Vehicles titled in your name. Multiple mileage. Oh, okay. Okay. 2022 and newer. See, this is a good option. This is a good option. Okay. I got you. I got you. No early payoff penalty. See, okay. That's a good option. I like that. Okay. So here, this guy is going to tell us why it's the bank's fault.
In just a year and a half. So they are already $35,000 underwater on that vehicle at the time of signing. And on Ford's side, it's even worse. So right now, about 20% of the auto loans out there are $1,000 or more a month. That's absolutely insane to think about. We have a
$1,000 a month car payment is absolutely nuts. But Meech, like you were saying, if you want to pay it off in 3 years, like you should, but if you're going to finance a vehicle and you can't pay it off in 3 years, you can't finance it, or you need to put more money down. Because I'm with you. 36 months is right. It was right at the line. Missing says, Jack, that's insane. Yet, Jack says it was a 72-month payment plan. Lord have mercy. Oh, 72 months on a 2021 Hyundai. Jeez, man. And at the end of that 72 months, it's going to be worth like $50. Oh, 60. It was a 60 month. Okay. Jack says, don't smoke every day if you like doing basic math without a calculator. That's funny.
A disaster going on in the car market right now, and it's a negative equity crisis. And who is this
negative equity crisis
hurting? Right now it's hurting consumers. Consumers paid way too much over the last few years, got loans that they could not afford, and they're starting to go delinquent.
Yeah, these silly consumers, they just got loans they couldn't afford. And now they're going delinquent because they're irresponsible and they don't pay their loans. It's not that they were sold crap cars that are falling apart after 2 years and they have 8-month loans where they pay, or 80-month loans where they pay $1,000 a month for their vehicle that's worth $3,000 now.
On these loans. Who else does it hurt? It hurts new car dealers because these customers that are so far...
I agree, Meech. Jack is really funny. I hope you join us next time.
Underwater on their vehicles, they can now not buy a new car because they can't come up with the difference to be able to pay off their negative equity. It also is going to hurt the banks that wrote these loans that were way too high for the vehicle values that they were trying to loan on. They are going to lose a ton of money because we know these customers, they're going default on their loans. And who's...
Yeah, the customers are going default and the banks are like...
And this is not a laughing matter.
No.
It's going to have to eat that. It's going to be the banks. So I am at a used car dealer auction right now. And what are we seeing right now in the market? We're seeing that used car values on the wholesale level are dropping, and they're dropping in a major way. And what does that do for values of vehicles? Well, for your trade-ins, it absolutely crushes the values.
Yes. So he's right. So when you go to trade your car in, now this is from last year, but it still applies. When you go to trade your car in, the new car values are plummeting. Manufacturers are reducing their MSRPs. So when you take your used car in there, it's going to be worth way less. Just like Yusuf was saying on that Range Rover. If he'd have brought it in last year, it would have been able to offer him $15,000 more than he's offering now.
because what these new car dealers will use when you're taking in.
Wow, guys, 200 views on the stream today. Appreciate y'all. Oh my lord.
Yo.
Amazing. Thank you for being here. Lord have mercy.
Your car
That's a
to
lot.
get traded, to get it appraised by these new car dealers, they're going to use wholesale values because that's what they can sell the cars for. They take your trade-ins, they send them here, and whatever they bring here, that's what they're selling these cars for. So as wholesale prices get hammered, so do trade-in values. And
Yes, absolutely right about that too, man. This guy knows his stuff. He's been doing it for decades, and he actually runs my favorite kind of car dealership. He has a small dealership where all of his cars are like $5,000 and under, pretty much. So he is out there for the real ones, you know, for the blue collar folk like myself. He's given them a great deal on an old vehicle that's not a complete junk. Nance says, not a great auction. It's all old beaters in the background. Yeah, those are all repos. Yes. Jack says, of course, you're funny and great vibes. I subscribed. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. It's we try and keep it fun, you know. Every Monday and Friday at around 7 Eastern, we go live and talk about whatever thing from the internet has upset me this week. Nance says, so it's a side auction. Yes, it is a dealer. It is a dealer only auction for repos. Meech says, is this the housing market crisis but in car form? You know, it's similar. I'm working on another one with the housing crisis, but the difference with the cars is that they didn't bundle all of the auto loans all up into securities and then sell them as investment products, because even those investors know that a depreciating asset is not a good investment. Jack says, thanks to the housing market crisis, it's both in one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is really something, man. It's quite a combination of factors right now. Nance says might be, Meech is fair. Nance says might be a bigger meetup for Columbus for Meech next time at this rate. Hey, yeah, I know, man. Hey, we can get people to come to the meetup. That'd be fun.
what does that affect? That affects the negative equity situation for a lot of consumers that are trying to upgrade to new cars right now.
Again, the negative equity, I don't like the phrase negative equity. It's
wholesale prices get hammered, trade-in values get hammered, and that means the value of your car goes down, but your loan amount is not going down at the same rate that used car prices are going down.
Yeah, it's going much faster.
So what does that cause? That causes this massive.
Oh, Meech says, all I need is you, Nance. Sorry for pausing bacon strips.
Some negative equity pinch that we're seeing hammer the market right now. Alright, so let me show you a real-world example of what happened to a lot of these consumers that have bought these vehicles over the last couple years. You see this row right here. These are Chargers. These are Challengers.
I think this is probably the most repoed vehicle of all time, I'd be willing to guess.
And we know that 2 years ago, they were very hard to find. And all these dealerships, they were selling them like crazy.
Yeah.
And this one right here.
$300,000. That's how much home equity.
See, this guy's trying to sell us a house loan or something right now.
MSRP.
They heard us
of
talking.
$56,000. But 2 years ago, if this would have been $56,000, that consumer that wanted this, they wouldn't be paying $56,000 for it because you couldn't find any of them.
Yeah,
so
so
on top
they
of that
paid
$56,000, they're going to be paying
for it.
$10,000 market adjustment. You've got your add-ons, you've got your nitrogen, you got your dock fees, all of that.
Yeah, your nitrogen. Nitrogen inflation is at least another $500, maybe $1,000.
And we knew that at that point in time, loans were easy to come by, so customers were coming in, they were being able to buy those.
Beach says not the Chargers in the rainbow. I know, right? Like that was very picturesque.
$56,000 Challengers and Chargers for, at the end of the day, probably $80,000 after your add-ons, after your market
they all have
adjustments.
the V6.
And banks were writing loans with these consumers putting little to no money down. Now, what happens? We fast forward, and no longer are they hard to find. Look. They're everywhere.
Yeah, we found
Every
a bunch.
Jeep, Dodge,
They're
Ram dealership you
going
go
for
to,
nothing.
there's going to be tons of them stacked up at the lots. And now, instead of paying over MSRP, instead of paying these market adjustments, instead of paying these add-ons, you can actually buy them for invoice or lower. A lot of these Jeep, Dodge, Ram dealerships are trying to get rid of these things because they have too many of them. So you're going to be able to get way better deals than what you could have gotten 2 years ago. So what does that do to the value of these vehicles? Well, you can go ahead and know that Charger, that Challenger, that consumer paid way too much for 2 years ago, that as soon as they sign on the dotted line, they're going to lose 20% of the value of that vehicle. But they're not losing 20% on that $80,000.
They lost the 20%, though, not me. They're the suckers. I'm a smart one.
$1,000 that they paid.
Jack says nitrogen in tires is pointless. Yes, if you don't know, non-car people out there, the air is 70% nitrogen. So even if you just get regular inflation, you have nitrogen inflation.
They're losing 20% off of that $56,000. So you're going to bring that price down to what, $45,000 is what that vehicle is worth at the time that consumer signs that car. So they are already $35,000 underwater on that vehicle at the time of signing.
And I love that he has the Gladiator in the background. It's the perfect background.
And we know that the next year they're going to lose about another 10%. But here's the problem with that too. Because we have a lot of these Chargers, a lot of these Challengers stacking up, because we have banks that are tightening up, because demand has been sucked out of the system so much, values are actually dropping way faster than what they normally do. So that customer that paid that $80,000 for that Charger, that Challenger 2 years ago, they might still owe $60,000, $65,000 on that vehicle, and they could go replace that vehicle right now with a brand new one. 2 years newer vehicle on this lot right now for less than what they owe on their current vehicle.
Oh yeah, because he just showed one that's 50 grand. So absolutely, and it's tough. I mean, I don't see. Now, again, that is Car Questions Answered. He has a lot of great information if you are shopping for a vehicle. But I do respectfully disagree with it being the bank's fault, because I think that the new car dealers were the ones who were writing these loans in the first place. So to put that on the banks and saying, well, you should have never loaned these people $100,000 on these crap cars. You see these piece of crap cars we sell? You gave somebody $100,000 for that thing? It's worth $20,000. And it seems like everybody knows the truth except for the end user, which is just disgusting to me. Absolutely, just. You know, we've been backstabbed and been over by all of these guys so many times, and now they're blaming us for the situation that they put us in. It's unreal. Meech says, thank God I'm not a car person. I'm a purse person, and I just get effed on my designer stuff getting made in China. Hey, if you're new here, check out that stream where we talked about the drama with the purses going on with the Chinese manufacturing. That was a good one. We had a follow-up stream on that too. There's actually two streams about the Chinese manufacturing. I think that was crazy. Missing says Gladiators are trash. I disagree. They are overpriced. But I drive one pretty regularly. My buddy has one, and man, I actually really like it. I thought I would hate that thing, but it is so much fun. It's so much fun. I'll make a little video someday in the Gladiator, and I'll show you what I like and what I hate about it. Also, I kind of thought, like, what if I go and check out some of these things like we've been talking about, like the Goodwill and the fast food prices and all this stuff. I think I'm gonna do some real life journalism. We'll do some investigating, and I'll take videos of it, and we'll put on our Goodwill body cams, and we'll go around and hold these people to account. I want to go to the fast food place. I want to go to the dealerships. I want to go to the Goodwill, and we'll see what's going on here. If you missed the Goodwill stream, that was a big one. That was a big stream. I don't know why. A lot of people real passionate about that one. Same with the Walmart receipt checkers. I don't know why that was a huge video, but hey, if you're new here, check that one out. That was a fun one. Nance says all the Stellantis stuff is straight up trash now. Yeah, absolutely agree. They forgot who their customer is. It's a shame. People who buy Jeeps want a Wrangler that is durable and does what they say it will do, not a Grand Wagoneer that costs $120,000. I totally agree. I had a rental heap while my car was getting fixed. Oh, that's the Jeep. And it had so many issues with 20,000 miles on it. Yeah, those their cheap SUVs are absolute garbage, like the Compass, the Patriot. Of course, my opinion. That's what this whole thing is. Don't sue me. Majority are just electrical nightmares between the TPMs, broken ground wires, and other electrical issues, and lifters and the Hemis and the V6, trans issues, AWD issues. Yeah. Tons of manufacturing issues, tons of recalls all the time for all these manufacturers. It's crazy, and they only want more and more money. It's absolutely nuts. Meech says Walmart was wild, and yeah, it was. And we had a bunch of actual Walmart employees chiming in the comments on that one. That was wild. That was wild. That video got like 80 comments or something. I was like, who are all these people? Again, 214 views on the stream tonight so far. Appreciate all of y'all being here. This is it's been a lot of fun. Jack, appreciate you hanging out with us in chat. Appreciate all your jokes. And thank you for subscribing. Hopefully we see you again on Friday. We will have another fun stream, and we can all sip on our blue drink and commiserate about the downfall of society. Jack says, hold them accountable. Absolutely. We're going to the streets, Jack. We're going to the streets, and we're gonna get video evidence. We're gonna catch them in 4K. You know. Meech says, in his opinion, bacon strips. That's right, man. In my opinion, okay.
And this is not a laughing matter.
Well, hey, y'all, thank you so much for being here. My name's Drew. This is The Extras. We're here every Monday and Friday at 7 o'clock. Thank you for joining me. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Smack that like button. And y'all have a great week, okay? Tell your families you love them. And I will catch you on the next one. Peace.